Okay, so today we're talking about solving equations with variables on each side. So we're going to solve equations with variable on each side and then solve equations involving grouping symbols. So let's look at the first one. We have 2 plus 5k equals 3k minus 6. Now you will see that we have a variable on both sides. We have 5k and we have 3k. It's the same variable. They are like terms. So we want to move all of our variables to one side. So we can take a look at this. Since 3k is the smallest, I would subtract 3k from both sides. 3k minus 3k is 0, so that just leaves us with the negative 6. Okay? Then we, over here on the left side, we have 2 plus 5k minus 3k. 5k minus 3k. Remember, when you are subtracting like terms, the variable comes down and the coefficient gets subtracted. So 5 minus 3 is 2. And then the rest of the problem comes down as well. So we have 2 plus 2k equals 6. Now we just solve it like we've been solving the equations. Subtract 2 from both sides gives me 2k minus 8. Then I divide by 2 from both sides, and I get k equals negative 4. Then again, to check it, we take that negative 4 and we plug it back into wherever there's a k. And then we solve it, and we get 18 equals negative 18. So therefore, it checks. It works. Okay? All right, so here's a couple, 1A and 1C, for you to try and then come back and see how you did. Okay? All right, let's see how you did. So we have 3w plus 2 equals 7w. So we have variable on both sides. They're both like terms. So we can subtract 3w from the left and 3w from the right side of the equal sign. 3w minus 3w is 0, so that just brings down the rest of the problem is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4, so 4w. I then divide by 4, and w equals 2/4 or 1/2. Okay? So you can see we can do a check on that also. We take the 1/2, put it in for the w in each spot, and you would end up with 3.5 equals 3.5. Okay? Don't forget, right here you have to get, when you're adding the 3/2 plus 2, you have to get a common denominator in order to add those together. All right, let's see how you did on 1C. Okay, so I can rewrite this just a little bit. This is x over 2 is the same as 1/2 x plus 1 equals 1/4 x minus 6. Then I can subtract 1/4 x to get all my variables onto one side. That's going to leave me with negative 6 on this side. So 1/2 would be 2/4, and 2/4 minus 1/4 is going to be 1/4. Okay? So that leaves me with 1/4 x plus 1. Now I subtract 1 from both sides, and that's going to give me 1/4 x equals negative 7. I then have to multiply both sides by 4, and then that's going to give me x equals negative 28. Okay, so you can see by the check, we have negative 28 divided by 2 plus 1, which would be negative 14 plus 1, or negative 13. And then 1/4 times negative 28 minus 6, 1/4 times negative 28 is negative 7 minus 6, and that would be negative 13, so it checks. So x does equal negative 28, okay? All right, now if the equations contain grouping symbols such as parentheses or brackets, use the distributive property first to remove the grouping symbols. So if we have 6 times the difference of 5m and 3, set equal to 1/3 times the sum of 24m and 12. Okay? So first thing we have to do is distribute, which means 6 times 5m and 6 times negative 3. That'll give me 30m minus 18. Then I have to take 1/3 times 24 and 1/3 times 12. Well, 1/3 times 24m is 8m, and 1/3 times 12 is 4. Now I can subtract 8m from both sides, and that's going to give me 22m minus 18 equals 4. Now I would add 18 to both sides, and that's going to give me 22m equals 22. Then I just simply divide both sides by 22, and I get m equals 1. Okay? So you try 2a, 2b, and let's see what you get. All right, let's see what you get. So on 2a, first thing we have to do is we have to multiply 3 times 6 and 3 times negative 2s. So I will have 8s minus 10 equals 18 minus 6s. Okay? And then since this is minus 6s, I would have to add 6s to both sides. So negative 6x plus this s is 0, so that leaves me with 18. And 8 plus 6 is 14, so that's 14s minus 10. Then I would add 10 to both sides, because that's the opposite of subtraction. And that gives me 14s equals 28. Divide both sides by 14, and s equals 2. So there I did the check, and you will see when you plug 2 back in, 6 equals 6. Okay? All right, let's look at 2b. So again, we're taking 7 times n, 7 times negative 1, and then negative 2 times 3, and negative 2 times n. So this would give me 7n minus 7 equals negative 6 minus 2n. Okay? So I can add 2n to both sides, and that's going to give me 9n minus 7 equals negative 6. I then add 7 to both sides, and I'm going to get 9n equals 1. And then divide by 9, and n equals 1/9. And then you can see I went ahead and ran the check right here. Plug in 1/9 into all of the n's. I would end up with, without simplifying, negative 56/9. That's really as far as I need to go because both sides have the same thing, so that I know that it is truly the right answer. Okay? All right. So remember that there are some cases where you're going to have no solutions, and you're going to have some that any value works, as in identities. Okay? So for example, 5x plus 5 equals 3 times 5x minus 4, and then that's all minus 10x. Okay? So when you have something like this, the first thing you have to do is use your distributive property. That would give you 15x minus 12. Then you'll notice that you have two variables on this side, so we have to combine like terms. 15x minus 10x would give me 5x, so then I have 5x plus 5 and 5x minus 12. If I subtract 5x from both sides, I get 5, which does not equal negative 12, so therefore that would be no solution. And then on b, again, you distribute first, and so I would end up with having 6b minus 3 minus 7 equals 6b minus 10. Combine like terms right here. That gives me 6b minus 10 equals 6b minus 10. If I subtract, I can stop right there, but if I wanted to simplify, I could subtract 6b minus from 6b, I would get 0, then add 10 to both sides, and I end up with 0 equals 0. Okay? So all values, so that's an identity. Okay? So just remember those. Here's one we can work together. 7x plus 5 times the difference of x and 1 equals negative 5 plus 12x. Remember, we distribute first, so we have 7x plus 5x minus 5 equals negative 5 plus 12x. Combine our like terms, we give us 12x minus 5 equals negative 5 plus 12x. We'll subtract 12x. I don't know if you see it or not, but these are identical, just rearranged. But I'll show you by subtracting 12x out of there, you end up with negative 5 equals negative 5. So that is an identity, okay? So an identity. And then lastly, I just added this on here. It gives you steps for solving equations. You first want to simplify the expression on each side, then use the distributive property as needed. Step 2, use the addition or subtraction properties of equality to get the variables on one side and the numbers without variables on the other side, and then simplify. Use multiplication and division property of equality to solve. Okay, so that's kind of the steps that you can use to solve equations. All right, if you got any questions, let me know. Have a great day.